Um, yeah, so before we start getting into this mystery shard hunting, I want to talk about the Game Awards. So talk about that for a quick sec. The Game Awards is this Thursday. I'm actually not sure what time it starts. I may actually look that up. Okay, so it's saying starting at 8 p.m. in Eastern time, which is my time. So I'll probably start live streaming around like 7:30ish. I probably want to see a lot of like big hitter games, like ones that like are gonna blow your ass off, kind of like things. And if you guys know me, I love fighting games. Like fighting games are like my big thing. I love Tekken. Like Tekken is my favorite fighting game. I love Smash Brothers, King of Fighters, Soul Calibur, all those stuff, you know. So I have a feeling that we're gonna see like at least one or two like really big fighting games. And one of them is probably gonna be a NRS game. So this is my first prediction right now. I think we're gonna get a new NRS game. And to those who don't know who NRS is, they're NetherRealm Studios. They pretty much make the Mortal Kombat and Injustice series. And there's been huge rumors for a couple of months now that NRS was making something big. And at first, I believe the first rumors were that they were working like on a Marvel fighting game, which is a pretty big because again, their NRS they make the Injustice games, and if you know what Injustice is, it's a DC fighting game with Superman, Batman, and all these other characters, which is obviously owned by WB Warner Brothers. And so for NRS to be making a Marvel fighting game is pretty big. When I first heard this rumor a few months back, I was like, what? Like, excuse me? And it was supposed to be like apparently it was supposed to be like correct me if I'm wrong, like a X-Men versus Avengers game, or something like that. It was supposed to be something crazy like that, which would have been, if this is the case, it's gonna be sick as hell. X-Men versus Avengers, like that's badass. And like, who doesn't love the X-Men and the Avengers? Like, Marvel is like bigger than it ever has been now. Like, like everybody knows Marvel and knows most of the characters and seen the movies. Like, Marvel is so wildly popular now that it's like, this is like some dream come true, like, shit for like diehard Marvel fans. So yeah, that's something I will be dope to hear or see. I mean, but there was also other rumors that NRS is making Mortal Kombat 12, which I think is the most likely for them to just go to Mortal Kombat 12 and not Injustice 3. I mean, Injustice 3 is like also very highly likely, but I think MK12 is a little bit more likely to happen because, yeah, their last game was Mortal Kombat 11, but Mortal Kombat 11 sold stupidly well. Like, MK11 made so much money. It's ridiculous. It's literally the most successful fighting game in like history, if I'm not mistaken. That game made so much freaking money. It's actually insane. And like, why wouldn't they make another one like right off the bat? It just makes sense. It's like, just the title Mortal Kombat just sells. Everybody knows what Mortal Kombat is. Everybody loves the series, including myself. Like, I love Mortal Kombat too. Even though I have some gripes with MK11, I personally think MKX is like the best MK game. That's just my opinion, though. I just love the whole, combo heavy gameplay that X had compared to 11, where you're more footsie based. But yeah, like even with like people that did have gripes with 11, it's still so stupidly well. So compared to Injustice 2, and like I said, Injustice 2 sold very well too. Like there's no mistaking that. But compared to MK11, that game sold extremely well. Yeah, like it's literally crazy. So I think they're just gonna keep going with that bandwagon. They're just gonna I feel like they're just gonna shoot out another MK game, MK12, and just slap a bunch of legacy MK characters and of course guest characters, because that's like their thing now. They're like how Soul Calibur was. It kind of still is, because Soul Calibur is doing guest characters for the longest. But Mortal Kombat just does it bigger. So it's very likely. I think a Mortal Kombat 12 is possible. But like I said, Mortal Kombat 12 is very possible. But Injustice 2 is like right around there too. Especially if you know the creator Ed Boon and you follow his social media on Twitter. Now I gotta kind of say this because you can only take some things that Ed Boon says with a very grain of salt, because he has a tendency of tweeting things and hinting things of guest character, like possible guest characters, or like possible next fighting game. But sometimes he just does it to troll, or half the time he does it to troll. So you can't really believe everything he's saying. But he did talk about an interesting thing about a fan had asked Keanu Reeves not too long ago, I want to say like a week ago or this past weekend, if he would like to see John Wick or Neo be in Mortal Kombat. And Keanu Reeves simply just said no, that he wouldn't like to see that, even though he loves Mortal Kombat, but he also loves those characters, and Keanu Reeves just doesn't see Neo and John Wick being in Mortal Kombat. And that little interview, or I guess question, got to Ed Boon, and Ed Boon tweeted it. I think this is interesting what he did tweet. Like I said, you gotta take what he says with like a very grain of salt. Okay, so right here, hold on, let me 1 second, chat. Let me actually, I'll just do this. Boom. Makes it easier. Alrighty.
So many ways,
okay.
But
so first of all,
very much.
as you can see, if I can pause it, he says, "No, you're awesome in so many ways. The man has spoken, but perhaps instead."
Fans have been dying for Neo or John Wick to appear in a Mortal Kombat game. If it were up to you, would you allow it to happen? If it was up to me, no. Mortal Kombat is awesome in so many ways, but I think, Neo, John Wick, yeah, man, they're doing their own thing. Mortal Kombat's doing their own thing,
And right there, he put Injustice with a question mark. So, interesting, right? So, that being said, that right there could kind of hint like, okay, maybe the next game is Injustice. Maybe Neo from the Matrix might be in it, or John Wick. Who knows? Maybe. So that's why I say that Injustice 3 could be a possibility, like a high possibility. But overall, I think an NRS game is going to happen. Me personally, I would prefer if it was that Marvel game, the X-Men versus Avengers. But I think it's most likely going to be MK12, and then if not, then definitely Injustice 3. So yeah, so that's one of my predictions. Probably gonna get a new trailer for the new God of War game, I think, and maybe even a release date, because it only says that 2022. So we might get like an extended like trailer, maybe show off some more things, and it's probably gonna like talking about the release date of God of War Ragnarok, and that game my girlfriend is really excited about. I watched her play through the first one, and the game is badass. So yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not gonna go too much detail about that, but I think that's another big thing. I'm hoping that we're probably gonna get a and this is also like a me personally thing, and also another fighting game, Tekken 8. Or actually, let's go a little crazy with this one. Tekken Cross Street Fighter. Now, if you do know about that game, you already know. Obviously, there's a Street Fighter Cross Tekken that was made back in like 2013, 14. I could be wrong about that. Yeah, that was an interesting game. I was super hyped for that game. Played it, realized I suck at Street Fighter style. Still kind of do, kind of. But I did enjoy it because I just like the thought of Tekken characters fighting Street Fighter characters. And of course, they have my favorite character, Asuka, in it, so that made me happy. I have Asuka and Ibuki together, fuck yeah. Or Asuka and Sakura, hell yeah. So, but in reality though, Street Fighter Cross Tekken wasn't really that good. And I say that because one, which is kind of a huge thing, is that they had the DLC characters already in this game. And I think at the start of the release, like the release of the game, like all those DLC characters that came out like later on, they were already in the game, like all fully, like they were already like polished and everything. They just was gonna be in a traditional Tekken style, and we already got a taste of that. With Akuma being in Tekken 7, and Akuma is actually a part of the Tekken story lore, which is very interesting. So yeah, it pretty much it could work, at least with the Shoto characters. We've seen it, and it's like, okay, these Shoto characters can definitely work in, you know, the Tekken platform. And Akuma's actually broken as hell in Tekken 7. Like, I've seen some like competitive play with him and tournaments with him. It's like, yeah, this character is, Akuma's doing some stupid shit. So yeah, but Tekken Cross Street Fighter has been held off for years, and every time it's being brought up to Harada, which is he's pretty much the developer of, the head developer of Tekken, or producer, no, I think developer, yeah, of Tekken. Every time he's being asked, it's like he always says that like the game was like 40% done, something like that, but they held it off. But they didn't cancel it. He never, I think he even reassures that they didn't cancel the game. The game is not canceled. They didn't just, oh, you know what, screw it, we're done, we're not going to continue with this. They were developing it, got to a certain point, and they just paused it, or said, okay, hold on, there's actually other things we want to like focus on first before we shoot this out. And he's been saying that for some time, but also, like, my crazy brain with fighting games and my love of Tekken feels like that they're just not, like, he's not telling us that this whole time they actually been working on Cross Street Fighter, and that that's why they implemented Akuma, and even made their own Shoto Tekken character with Eliza. Because if you know who Eliza is in Tekken Revolution and Tekken 7 now, she has uppercuts and fireballs, and she even has a meter like Street Fighter. So they kind of made their own Street Fighter hybrid, like Tekken hybrid character. And then of course they added Geese Howard, and even though Geese isn't from Street Fighter, he's from Fatal Fury and King of Fighters. The style of King of Fighters is somewhat similar to Street Fighter. It's a 2D fighter. So it looked like with Tekken 7, they were like testing to see how players will feel and how they will use these characters. And people know how to use them, and they're really good with them. People might have some controversy while they're in the game, because there's always people that hate guest characters, but there's people like me that actually do like guest characters. That is what it is with that subject. But I feel like with Tekken 7, they were using that to like really test the waters, how to use like a traditional like Shoto-like character. Well, there's Akuma, so yeah, an actual Shoto in the Tekken world, and it worked out. So I feel like ever since they noticed that, okay, people are comfortable with this, or mostly people are comfortable with this, and we can pretty much do this pretty much. So I feel like Tekken cross Street Fighter is possible. I'm not gonna say highly possible. I think it's possible. Or it could just be Tekken 8 or even Tag 3, but I don't know. I think Tag 3 might be a bit too soon. But it could just be Tekken 8. Which if it is, that will make you just as happy. But I do feel like cross Street Fighter might be a big possibility, especially since Street Fighter 5 just ended with their last character, Luke, that came out not too long ago. So yeah, I feel like now that Tekken 7 already ended with Lydia earlier this year, so now that Tekken 7 and Street Fighter 5 is done, I don't know. I feel like cross Street Fighter is probably a good time. I think now is the time to announce it. Tekken 7 and Street Fighter 5 has been out for a while now, so to have the worlds come back again and now they're both finished, yeah, I think now is the time to do that. So yeah, that's my second prediction. But this is like a 20, maybe even 15% chance of that even happening. They could just save this for like Evo 2 of next year, because Evo is like the biggest fighting game tournament, so that could be another big thing. But that's not for a while. That's not until like around July, I think. So, but I don't know. Like I said, that's just my crazy brain thinking that, because like I said, fighting games do tend to be announced at the Game Awards too. So that's why I'm like, that could be a good spot to show it. So not so much of a new game, but this will be considered as a world premiere. The DLC for Resident Evil 8. And Resident Evil 8 is nominated to be one of the games to be Game of the Year. And they did tease that they were working on a DLC for Resident Evil 8, but that was it though. They just like, hey, yeah, we're in development of Resident Evil 8, pretty much. So Resident Evil 8 DLC is highly possible. I think Resident Evil 8 could be shown for Game Awards. If that's the case, and if y'all see my playthrough of Resident Evil 8, which sadly I can't show you the footage, because they're kind of gone sadly. But I did live stream my whole playthrough of Resident Evil 8, and holy shit, dude! Me personally, Resident Evil 8 is Game of the Year. That out of all the games that's being nominated for Game of the Year, Resident Evil 8 to me is Game of the Year. That game was freaking unbelievable. I loved every moment of it. I almost wanted to replay it again, and I may, I don't know. We'll see. But I think a DLC being like a whole trailer of the DLC probably be showing off. And then to go even crazier, Resident Evil 4 remake. That might be too soon to announce, but like maybe a teaser trailer of RE4 remake could happen. And people has been wanting that for a hot minute. Like, yeah, like people's been wanting an RE4 remake for a long time, and I don't blame them. RE4 is one of the best Resident Evil games of all time. People like literally say that is the best Resident Evil game of all time, and like I said, I don't blame them. That game is the game is just fun as hell and amazing. Story is really good and everything. So yeah, I think Resident Evil 8 DLC, Resident Evil 4 remake, possibly. I want to say DLC is like, I want to say that's like a maybe like 70% chance of happening. RE4 remake, I want to say that's like a 10%, if not 5%. And it's really low, but who knows? We don't know. It could happen. It could happen. The new Sonic game, Sonic Frontiers. I think that's what like the code name is, or something like that. I think that has a big possibility of showing at the Game Awards, especially since the small rumors I've been hearing that there's supposed to be a trailer soon or something like that. I think the Game Awards is like the best place to show it. A whole new Sonic game. And people's been talking about like a lot of rumors about it, that it's supposed to be like, I think someone has said it might be open world. It's supposed to be like this big, like expansive expansion of a game. I don't know. We don't know too much about it besides that small teaser trailer, but I think we're to get like a world premiere of like a full trailer of the game. And maybe even release date and whatnot, and like an official title, because we're only going by its code name, and I think it's Frontier, unless that is the real name, but I believe it's just a code name. I could be wrong about that. So yeah, that might be a huge possibility. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like new games that we haven't known, but like I just want to mention this though. Breath of the Wild 2 trailer might happen, like a new Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. Is a huge possibility, I think also. Or actually, I mean that could be a thing, but what I want, and this will be a world premiere of that. The whole Zelda community would love this in general, because I'm not the only one that says this, but a HD collection of Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, and my favorite Zelda game, Twilight Princess, on the Switch. If they do that, I will yell. Even though I've beaten Twilight Princess 5 times, I'm still willing to buy that game, pre-order it, and slap that shit on my Switch and beat that game all over again. And I can actually stream it with you guys. Like, oh my gosh, like that's something that actually is getting me excited, because like, for those who don't know, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is not only my favorite Zelda game, but it's my favorite video game of all time. Like, that game hits all types of my emotions. I love the hell out of it. It's like, this is Twilight Princess is like people's Final Fantasy VII. That's just how it is to me. Like, Twilight Princess is such a beautiful game, man. Oh my gosh, just thinking about it just makes me. Every time I think about Twilight Princess, it just makes me happy. The soundtrack, the world, the characters, the enemies, the bosses, the dungeons, the items, like, oh my gosh, even the side quests aren't even like are fun to me. Like, oh dude, I just love every single thing about Twilight Princess. Like, that game is so beautiful, and like that's like the only Zelda game where like Link has literally the best like support character, Midna. There's no better support character than Midna. Like, people get annoyed with Navi. Fee's not interesting at all. I mean, like, Midna will forever be like the best support character. That's just me though. Like, I think that will make me super happy if they just announce like we're doing an HD like trilogy collection where it's Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess. And don't get me wrong, I'll live stream the other two as well. Like, I love Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker as well, so I'll be more than happy to like replay through those too, because I be in all of those. So yeah, but to me the big one is like, yeah, Twilight Princess on Switch. And like, just imagine, like, because we got HD remakes. I never played Twilight and Wind Waker. Oh my gosh, man, Wind Waker is really good, don't get me wrong, but Twilight Princess is like, I feel like if they were to do like a Zelda movie, Twilight Princess would be the best one. Like, it's dark, but yet so beautifully made. It's just amazing. Like, definitely play Twilight Princess. If you could find a way to play it, play Twilight Princess. It's literally, that game is just amazing. But yeah, that would be my like big hope if they do that. I think that has like a maybe like 30% chance of being shown at the Game Awards this Thursday. I feel like a King of Fighters 15 trailer might be announced for like another character, and I'm hoping it's Kula. Like, they've been teasing me forever. Like, I got my two characters, I got K-Dash and Kyo, but Kula's the only character I'm like waiting for King of Fighters 15. And I'm just like, dude, stop teasing me, just give me my girl. I just want her. So we could probably get another trailer of that. I think a Final Fantasy Remake Part 2 could possibly happen, but I don't think it will be like a full trailer. I feel like it will be like a teaser trailer, because, you know, they don't want to show too much. But I think that's like a 10% chance of happening. It will blow people's asses off. It definitely would. It might it's blowing my ass off too. Even though my personal favorite Final Fantasy game is Final Fantasy VIII. Ooh, see, my crazy brain again. My crazy brain is telling me, what if they do a Final Fantasy VIII remake? That I will scream and holler for. But I think they had to finish up Final Fantasy VII remake first before they do that. So I don't think a Resident Evil Final Fantasy VIII remake won't happen for a long time. But Final Fantasy Remake Part 2, small possibility. I want to say like a 5-10% on that as well. I think if anything from Square Enix, I feel like we're probably gonna get more of a Final Fantasy, what was it, 16? Final Fantasy 16 might be we're probably gonna get a new trailer of that as a world premiere. Dang, I'm not really sure what else. We talked about like what NRS is possibly making. Zelda possibly, Resident Evil is a huge possibility. God of War, Ragnarok, I think that's a pretty big possibility. Sonic, I think the new Sonic game, like a full trailer of the new Sonic game, is a massive possibility. I think that's like more of a possibility than anything else, honestly. So yeah, Cross Street Fighter or Tekken 8 is like maybe. I'm still hoping that they do Cross Street Fighter though, but we'll see about that. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get anything Tales of related. Like I don't know, like a new Tales of Arise like DLC trailer or something. I don't know if we're gonna get anything about that. I might be wrong. If they do, that'll be cool, because Tales of Arise actually sold pretty well. Me personally, I think Tales of Arise is my honest like opinion of Game of the Year. But out of the nominees, I think Resident Evil 8 is Game of the Year. But so yeah, I think my predictions are a new NetherRealm game being either Mortal Kombat 12 or Injustice 3, or a new Marvel game being developed by them. This game I think it will be Mortal Kombat 12, but Injustice 3 might happen, but I will personally prefer if the rumors about that X-Men versus Avengers game is I'm hoping that's true. Cross Street Fighter, Tekken Cross Street Fighter is my personal thing I hope they show. Or it could be Tekken 8. But I don't think that's too much of a high chance. That might be like a 20% chance maybe. Zelda Trilogy Collection that I mentioned earlier, HD Collection, that I really want. I think that's like a good 50% chance because people has been talking about it for so long, and Nintendo is definitely self-aware of what the Zelda fans want. Sonic, the new Sonic game, I think that's a huge possibility. I think that's like a good like 80%. I'm pretty confident on that one. What else did we mention? God of War Ragnarok, a new trailer of that I think that could happen. I want to say that's like a 45% chance. No, I want to say 50. I think it's a huge possibility. Yeah, those are my predictions. What I'm assuming for Game Awards this Thursday. So yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I'll be live streaming it this Thursday around, because it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time here. So I'll do my best to get on like around 7:30ish to start live streaming that. So yeah,